In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, I greet you with the greetings of peace be unto you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the City Council, for allowing us this opportunity to give the people's state of the city address. We stand before you today as the voice of the voiceless, the voice of those whose voices have fallen on deaf ears and whose deeds are not recognized in City Hall and the chambers of justice. We, the people, love our city despite her many flaws. Mr. Chairman, members of the City Council, look around. This is the true power of the community. If you are here as a living testimony that another Chattanooga exists, one that is different from the one our mayor has portrayed as reality, please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Today, we the people roll up our sleeves and say, today, we work. We the people stand today in the spirit of Isaiah to rebuild the wasted communities, to restore the former devastations, renew the ruined neighborhoods and desolations of many generations. In 2014, a New York Times article on Americans' growing poor and low-income populations featured Chattanooga as a highlight of disturbing new trends. The article found that 27% of the city residents live below the poverty line, nearly double the national average. Out of that number, women head 2/3 of the city's poor households, and 42% of its children are poor. And according to another source, 60% of African-American children are poor, nearly double the rate statewide. Chattanooga ranks 12th in the nation for economic inequality out of the top 100 markets for ratio of lower income households to high income households. For every household earning $200,000 or more, there are 20 earning less than $50,000 a year. The Brookings Institution has reported that between 2000 and 2010, Chattanooga saw a 75.2% increase in people in poverty in the urban core and a 52% increase in poverty in the suburbs. In the years 2007 through 2009, Chattanooga had the second highest rise in poverty in the entire United States of America, and an 8% increase. Chattanooga currently maintains the 7th quickest rise in rents in the nation. In 2012, the Thomas Fordham Institute noted that 2 of Chattanooga's zip codes were among the highest for gentrification and racial displacement in the United States. Recently, Wallet Hub, an online information gathering site, noted that Chattanooga had the 7th lowest pay in the U.S. for someone with a bachelor's degree. Only 23% of all working-age children residents live near a transit stop. The average for the top 100 metro areas is 69%. Chattanooga, home of the Ironman competition, the USA Cycling Championships, having one of the largest downtown climbing complexes in the country, was named one of the least healthy cities in all of America. Volkswagen has been given nearly $800 million in public subsidies and has the lowest paying wages of any auto workers in America. Time will not permit us to deal with all the issues, initiatives, and proposals we would like to present. So today, we share the stories of those most impacted by the crimes of the greater part of Chattanooga that has caused the derivative crimes that you see today. Those who still live in dark ages while our city prospers from a renaissance. The mayor said, over the last 3 years, our unemployment rate has dropped 2.5%. You can't tell that to the people who live in Alton Park, whose unemployment rate is 35% and receive wages of $18,000 a year, or to the people on the west side where 100% rent and 30% are unemployed, or the people in East Lake with an unemployment rate of 28% and earn $20,000 a year. Today, we the people say to the City Council, you can no longer rubber stamp the mayor's budget. That's right. If we are truly budgeting for outcomes, then it's pretty obvious that we have not gotten the right outcomes. The current budget does not address the growing needs, the 100% dissatisfaction and frustrations in our communities. The answer is not to increase the budget of the police. The budget is a moral document that represents the priorities of our city. The 2016 Chattanooga annual budget appropriates nearly $108 million for safer streets. That is nearly 50% of the $221 million budget. We cannot police our way out of this in the eyes of the poor and disenfranchised. The police in our community are to us as the occupying armies of America are to the people of Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. The mayor said last year we arrested 306 gang members as part of VRI. Now we have more information than ever before about the main perpetrators on our streets, because many of these are truly young men, 16, 17, 18. We tell you the story of a young man who witnessed several call-ins, who once committed violent crimes, spent 20 years in prison, and now lives a productive life, a family man. He said they can find money for bicycles and bike lanes all throughout the city, but they can't find money to fund the programs to restore the lives of these young men with passion and conviction. He said, I have witnessed the same spirit of the police that exists in the streets inside the VRI call-ins. If they got the power to sit them down and scare them, why don't they use this as an opportunity to help solve their personal problems and addictions that cause them to do what they do? Every time I leave, he says he gets depressed. He said it's so dehumanizing. And the way they talk to the brothers is sickening. They don't love them. These young men would rather go to jail or die than turn government informant. That's right. The VRI has failed. 11 of the 12 police officers quit the unit. The head of the public safety committee left town. The out-of-town contractor paid to implement his High Point initiative has taken our money, and his plan has failed. The 32 worst of the worst failed. The call-ins are failing. That's right. The mayor said, one week they arrested 28 gang members and confiscated 18 guns. Yet we also saw those arrested make bond the same night, only to get on Facebook the next day with more provocative statements. These last 2 weeks epitomize the danger that occurs when a small group of people value retribution more than they worry about jail or even their own safety. And the cycle of violence and the code of silence continues. We tell you the story of a young man who said to us, Billy Long was the sheriff of Hamilton County. He's back on the streets. The number one law enforcer was distributing cocaine. That's right. He said, I know people who are doing several life sentences for less than what Billy Long was doing. They want us to snitch, but they won't break the blue code of silence and do nothing to the bad cops among their own. We tell you the story of an active gang member who said, yeah, they want us to stop banging. And we watch them banging downtown every day. What color are the Republicans? Red. What color are the Democrats? Blue. They blood, they crip. We the people say the mayor's plan to spend another $1 million in the next 2 years to put cameras in the yards of residents, businesses, and churches is like throwing a life jacket in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean during a hurricane. It will not slow the destructive forces intensifying in our community. It too will fail. Smarter students and stronger families appropriated $24 million, only 11% of the budget. Safer neighborhoods is appropriated $43 million, only 20% of the budget. We tell the story of an elderly lady who lives in one of the poverty pockets in our city, an area of our city where residents once could not sit on their front porch due to toxins from families in the dirtiest city in America, who now cannot sit on her porch due to crime and violence. Her husband has passed. Her children has moved on. All that remains of the good days are the pictures hanging on the walls of her humble home. Most of the lots around her are vacant, boarded up, rented out, or trap houses. Out of fear for her safety, her loved ones at every opportunity try to convince her to move out. She has no place to go. This is home. She loves her home. We, the people, believe that our city must focus more on safer neighborhoods. Family is the basic unit of civilization. When you have strong families, you have strong communities. When you have smart students who are empowered, they make smart choices. We tell you the story of a young man who was hanging on the street corners with his friends. He said to us, we have high school diplomas. We have 2-year degrees. Some of us have bachelor's degrees. But we also have one more thing in common. None of us have jobs. These are young men who played by the rules. They did what their parents taught them. They went to school, they got a good education, but at the end of the day, they don't have a job. Today, we the people no longer give the city council our permission to give public subsidies that do not benefit the people directly impacted. Today, we the people no longer give the city council our permission to grant pilots. Currently, 60 companies receive tax breaks through pilots. $15 million went uncollected in 2015, and more than $350 million has been forgiven through current pilots. $350 million. We the people say to this council, you must collect our tax dollars. If we have to pay taxes, then they should be made to pay taxes. We can fund the programs to address the root cause of the violence in our city with this money. Our children need to be invested in. Smarter students, strong families, safer neighborhoods will produce safer streets. The mayor's answer is 2 new initiatives. The Citizen Safety Coalition and spending an additional $1 million on cameras. Today, we the people offer 2 bold initiatives. First, the People's Youth Initiative. We make Chattanooga the best youth town in America. We tell you the story of a young girl who was walking downtown with her mother. When stopped and asked, if there's one thing you could say to the mayor, if there was one thing you could say to the city council, if there was one thing you could say to the leaders to help you, what would that be? With no hesitation, she looked me straight in the eyes and she said, spend time on me. Invest in me. Believe in me. Here's how we invest in her. We take the $1 million proposed for the cameras and we create 500 summer jobs. We start our youth on a graduated pay scale depending on age. We employ those youth in the poverty pockets that are most impacted first by the economic inequalities. We train our young people on how to open a bank account, a savings account, how to make a down payment on a car, a house, college education, how to create their own business. We have the money. The question is, do we have the wheel? We call on Volkswagen, who has benefited from over $800 million in public subsidies to match the $1 million. Amazon, who received $30 million in tax breaks to match the $1 million. Coca-Cola, $5.9 million tax incentives. Austin Power, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Chatham, Walnut Commons, McKee Foods, all of them collectively, you match the $1 million. The private investors who will be investing another $650 million downtown. It's time you pay your tithes. Give the people 10%. We call on our former mayor, Senator Corker, River City Company, to invest $1 million to make our city the best city in America. We create thousands of jobs. The impact will affect tens of thousands of families. This is a bold, progressive step in the right direction. The benefits are too many to name in this 3 minutes I have left. We must have new leadership to operate the People's Youth Initiative. We can't use the same old folk over and over again. We must bring our youth and family developments out of the caveman days. The Lexia program is not working. We cannot force our children to learn in the rec centers what the school system is failing to do. Sports and recreation is necessary to channel the energy of our young people through good, clean competition. We say this with deep love, respect, and humility for those who lead our YFD. You cannot allow the same spirit of intimidation and fear to creep into these centers. Fear restricts the will. Fear kills the spirit of creativity. We must free up and use the years of experience in the centers from the qualified staff who have earned the trust and loyalty of our young people. They are the first responders. The young people love and respect them. We must support them financially to implement new initiative and innovative methods. We must fund their outreach programs. The rec centers work for many of us. They can no longer be underfunded. We must empower the good people who work there. Secondly, the People's Formerly Incarcerated Rehabilitation Initiative. We can't keep telling our brothers to put the guns and drugs down and we don't give them anything to pick up. Many of our brothers want jobs, but because they have a felony, they can't get a job. We tell you the story of a young man who spent 13 years in jail. A young man is brave enough to share a very personal side of himself. When he was 5 years old, he was molested by another man. His father never praised him for any of his accomplishments. The schools he attended passed him knowing he couldn't read or write. He clowned his whole way through school by distracting everybody from his discrepancies and deficiencies. He's a convicted felon. He wants to work. He paid his dues. No one would give him a chance. He wants to pay his child support. They keep locking him up after non-payment every 6 months. A story all too familiar. He sees no way out. He doesn't desire to resort to the savagery of the concrete jungle. The mayor said, we have opened doors for those young gang leaders seeking a better life, and 184 have found employment. What the mayor did not tell us is that most of those jobs were temporary jobs with no benefits, lasting about 3 months. We, the people, are not satisfied with 184 temporary jobs. They need real, full-time, permanent, with full benefits. If we are truly serious about uprooting the cause, we will call on these same companies and others to put our young people to work like this young man. No matter how large or small your business, you have to put them to work. We begin collecting the millions uncollected funds through the pilots, and we fund community-based initiatives, and we store the broken lives of our people. We form a People's Formerly Incarcerated Rehabilitation Board, made up of those who are formerly incarcerated, former dealers, former leaders of street organizations whose lives have been reformed and transformed. We form conflict resolutions teams to mediate their beefs. We partner the board with retired educators, retired policemen, social workers, business and spiritual leaders to help make our communities a decent place to live and heal our city. We teach them how to read and write, get a GED, counsel and repair and restore their broken lives, proper community policing, trades and skills, plumbing, electrical work, all of that goes with whatever trade they desire to have. We, the people, ask this city council to partner with the masses and not the classes. Help the people create smarter students, stronger families, safer neighborhoods. Today, we the people begin that process that is written of in the scripture. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal the land. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the City Council. Power to the people.